Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dirt Rally. This is the first video I am recording post force feedback update. This is something we've all been waiting for and excited about. So I'm going to give you a little look into the settings I have chose to use. I of course have the Logitech G27 steering wheel. It is quite aged. I got this wheel when the G27 was brand new. So the force feedback motors and stuff like that, the potentiometers are all quite worn, so keep that in mind if you are setting up your wheel. But as for my actual wheel settings, these are the settings I am using. An 80% saturation, trying to quicken up that steering a little bit. I do prefer a quick steering rack to a slow one, so even though it's not 100% accurate to the real historic rally cars, it's a much more enjoyable experience for me. So that is why I choose to do that. I do use the soft lock, so I don't know if you can hear it, but the force feedback motors actually stop the wheel at a certain rotation depending on the car. But the big thing is here in the vibration and feedback. In my Logitech Profiler, I have the wheel set to 75% force feedback on game settings, because I have very specific settings for iRacing, so I didn't want to overwrite those. And then for here, I have the self-aligning torque set high. This is really cool. It helps, the wheel will automatically correct itself in a slide or counter steer, stuff like that. And then the other ones, everything else but tire slip, which I have up at 110. I could have probably left these, below 100% and had my actual profiler force feedback up, but these are the settings I came to first that seem to work. Soft lock's a little bit low because I do like it to have a little bit of that range beyond, and it would just clip the force feedback if it was too high. Collisions I have down a little bit because I think some of the collisions are a little phony in here, especially with the stuff on the side of the track, and it's just distracting to me. So yeah, that I turned down a little bit. Also in the profiler settings, I have it set to 75% regular force feedback, but I have the other two settings, the dampening and, I'm sorry, I can't remember the other one, but the other setting below the normal force feedback set to 0, so I don't want those at all. I don't want the actual drivers to be doing any of the force feedback. I want the game to be giving me its force feedback. I do have a 15% centering spring put on there as well, because I do like a little bit of a return to center on the wheel. And that seems to help with the whole self-aligning torque thing too. I also went in and added a couple more engineers because I didn't feel as though there was any reason not to. So I hired a couple 14,000 credit engineers, should help with our repairs. And I want to see about these perks. It says we have a perk and it says it is empty. How do I obtain said perk? Button 17. It's you. Perks. Perks cost money. Go figure. Well, these are very specific, aren't they? They are $20,000 or 20,000 credits, no matter what, and they can go towards specific cars. Upgrade times. What was that first one? I saw something that looked for just rear-wheel drive vehicles. That seems like a wise choice since we are using the Escort that is rear-wheel drive, and I think I'm going to be in rear-wheel drive cars for a little bit longer, so that seems like a good idea. So now we have 5% reduced upgrade times. Alright, there we go. I think we're ready to race. Alright, here we go into the Wales Rally. And we have 6 stages, and the first 2 are pretty similar, and looks like we're going to have pretty clear weather. Well, clear for Wales anyway, it's just cloudy, it's not raining. And I think I'm ready. Alright, so let's give this a try with the new force feedback. I have spent a little time just finding the correct settings. Really just doing shakedowns.
Caution, left 4 logs crest.
Okay. And I tell you immediately that the difference is incredible.
80, left
it's
6.
you know,
Right
such a
2 tightens to 1.
small
Long
change
cut.
relatively. Oop.
Left 5 into right
I'm getting
6.
used to having a much larger
Into
radius,
left 4 tightens to 3.
turning
80.
radius again. I hate it when it does that, kicks me out of gear.
Crest into left
Go.
5. Over crest. Right
But
1.
with this
Into right
larger
3.
radius, you also get more, you know,
Caution
finesse
left
with it.
5. Into turn square left, don't cut.
And since it has some of that steering return, oh, I always
And
do this right
6.
here.
Left 6. Crest.
Super wide.
Right 5.
Yeah, in areas like that, the wheel automatically
Left
corrects
6.
itself, as the car really does. You know, that's
Into left 4.
that's
crest.
a
Turn
real
right
world
3.
thing there. Second down.
Into left 3.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! A little more than I wanted.
Into
But
right
like I was
5.
saying, with it
Into left
returning the
5.
wheel like that,
Into right
it
2.
makes the wider, you know,
Into
the more
left
degrees of
5.
rotation
Right
not such a
6.
big deal.
Into caution left 5 over crest. 80
You know, the big
past
problem I had
junction, turn
before
square
was
right.
I was constantly like putting, you know, full effort into just turning the wheel back
Into
and forth.
left 3 half long past junction.
Now when the car
Into
gets
right
sideways
5
like that,
long
I can almost
cut.
kind of let go of the wheel
And
to some
caution
degree
left 4 long over crest.
and
Into
let it
turn
return to
hairpin
center
right.
as it would and as it should.
Into left 4 continues for 100, don't cut.
So such a small thing as force feedback makes a
100 through
huge
dip,
difference
Keep left over crest.
to the realism of the game.
Left 6, 40. Left 3.
Which seems so strange that, you know, people actually do play this with controllers.
Right 6, left 6.
And they have
past
plenty of
junction.
success. But previously,
40, keep left over jump. 130.
basically it was
Caution,
like
keep
setting it
right
up
over jump, past
to
junction,
use a controller
braking.
with the steering
Left
wheel.
6 into open hairpin right.
Oops, I always mess that up too. You know, when you put the degrees of rotation super low like that,
Left 6 over crest. 80.
you're really exaggerating the inputs.
Left 4 tight, don't cut.
Ooh.
Into right 6 half long. 80. Caution
This
right
is,
5
Wales
long,
is,
turn
I
hairpin
think,
left.
the most difficult
80.
of the locations that we have so far. It's the most
Keep
rally-like.
left over crest. Keep mid over crest. 80.
Greece isn't bad either, as far as
Right 5 long past junction. 100
its
past
ralliness.
lay-by. Right 6 long past junction.
but the Wales one just really,
Slowing,
it
80,
grabs your attention.
Right 5 through gate, water splash. Caution, keep mid over jump. 100
Nice.
down.
I remember
right,
this
turn
spot
right.
because this is where I always like. I think it's coming up soon. I always like to catch this
Two
gate.
left 1 long, opens to 2 long.
This is the kind of area where I would like to be able to clutch a hit.
60, caution right 4 over big
I was
jump.
able to keep it wound up pretty well though.
And right 6 over big jump 40, down. Right 3 water splash.
He's,
Right
yeah,
2
there it
through
is.
gate, opens
It's just
past
after this
junction.
this water splash here.
60 past junction.
Unfortunately, my wiper change didn't get added into this update. Hopefully soon.
Right 6 long, 60 to finish.
We got a ton of upvotes on that suggestion, so hopefully that caught their attention. Yay. Well, I was losing control, but it was after the finish. Not bad. Nice graphical glitch there to the left. Second place and only 2 seconds back. That's a good start. Now for the same stage
5,
in reverse.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
We just flipped a
Right,
Yui
4
right there
long,
and
60,
off we
over
go. Back up the hill.
Left 6 and right 5 long over crest, continues past
Let's see
junction.
if we can continue.
Into care left 6 past junction, left 3 through
Ooh,
gate to
ooh,
water
ooh.
splash.
Continue
Left 4,
doing well.
Into left 6 over jump.
Oh wow. The car like
Caution, left
really
3
got caught by the
continues
water
over
there.
jump.
Feels like maybe they added a little weight to the water. That was
Right 1 long, tight,
Oops.
don't cut.
that was another complaint that was pretty common, is that the water splashes and
Into
stuff
acute left, post inside, 60.
didn't feel very heavy. It just kind of like passed right through the water.
Caution, keep mid over jump, water splash. Left 4 through
See if I
gate.
feel it this time.
Crest
Yeah, I think I'm actually just
150,
feeling it through the
past
force
junction.
feedback, which
Left 6 over bump,
helps a lot, I guess.
100 past lay-by.
Certainly feels like you're actually pushing through the water.
Into right 6, stay mid over crest.
Oh.
Into right 6,
Probably should have told me not to
130.
cut that.
Caution crest into acute right.
See, that's interesting. I don't think that was an acute right on the way down.
Into left 6.
Just a hairpin.
Continues for 130. Over bumps. Ditch inside. Left 5, keep in.
There is a ditch
Into
inside.
right 3 over crest.
Alright, I mean, I'm
Crest right 6.
Clearly
Into turn left 3 tights to 2
doing a
past
lot more
junction.
work with the wheel. Putting a lot more effort into it. I was worried it was going to be too noisy, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Crest jump maybe past junction. 170.
Okay, this is the fast
Care
section.
right 6 over jump 60. Right 6 over crest past junction. Into care left
Ew.
6 crest bump. Right 2 long ditch inside.
And then I think it's like right after this, yep. that was a little too fast. He told me a lot of 6s up here.
Right 4 long, don't cut, tights to 4, over crest, immediate turn hairpin left.
This area is much more difficult on the way back.
And right 4 long.
Because you head in there with a lot more
Left
speed.
5 long, ditch inside. Into caution, turn right 3 tight, immediate turn square left.
Alright.
Into right 6 past junction. Into right
Still
4 over crest, tight, keep
not
in.
great with these slow sections.
Left 5. Right 5, keep in. Left 2.
A little cut there.
And right 6. Into left
It seems
6.
like a very
Into
obnoxious
right
way to
3
carve a
long,
path through this hill,
turn
guys.
left 3, half
I
long.
think you could have just gone
Crest
straight.
jump maybe. Into right 460.
It's one thing I've never really known is, do
Turn right 6.
the event organizers go through here and cut these paths,
80
or
down, turn square right.
do they try to use as many natural paths as possible, like things that were already there before the rally came to
Right
town?
6. Into left 4 half
Boom,
long,
boom, boom,
keep
boom,
in.
boom. Or are they the same every year,
Into
and it's
left
been
2, keep in.
the same paths for, you know,
Into right
decades?
5 long, 100.
I don't know.
Right
Although
1
I've always been
long,
kind of a fan of rallying, I don't really.
into
I'd say of
left
all the
6,
motorsports I follow, it's the one I know the least about,
Into right 3.
partially
Into
due
left
to
2
the
long,
absolutely
100.
horrible TV coverage we have here.
Care logs. Right 5, 80 through dip. Right 3 over crest.
near the end.
60, keep left over crest. Right 4, don't cut, 60.
Oh, we did have one green sector in there, that's cool.
Left 6, long over
See if we can get one on this
crest.
last
Into
one,
care,
too.
Right 4, long, don't cut, logs inside.
Yes, there are.
Finish.
Oh, sorry about your timer. Sorry. No, right in the last sector, too. Be cool if they build you for those. Cool. Well, they'd be frustrating. Repair time. Let's see what these new engineers can do. Crew recommendations is 16, and they are taking everything pretty much up to the max. What is button 5? Or can I have no idea what button 5 is. Oh, okay. It's the right right paddle shifter, and yes, they can completely repair the car. Fantastic. That's good to have.
Five, 4,
Off we go.
2, 1, go. 60 over crest. Caution, keep left over crest. Down. Into right 4 long.
Hey, this
into left
is
1 long.
Probably one of the more, I don't know, famous
Into right 6.
stages in the game. It seems to be a very
Into
popular
left
one
6,
for people
over
to
bumps.
pick to
Into
do
right 4 continues
like
over
world
crest.
records and stuff on.
Into left 6, 60 past
Oh,
junction.
this is not going to be one of those though.
Puncture left front.
Yeah, I was worried about that.
Turn left 1, 40.
Let's. Oh, that's not where we're going. It's going to be a long
Turn right,
stage
keep left,
now.
bad camber. Into left 6.
Yeah, it does not want to turn right
To right
at
6,
all.
immediate turn hairpin left.
Bad things are happening. Oh, and that just cracked the windshield. Come on, get out of the dirt. Well, get out of the grass, I guess. It is all over the place.
Into left 4, long.
Alright, let's try and stop the bleeding here.
Into caution, turn square right, don't cut, logs on exit.
This is going to be very tough with no left front. It's not even gone yet.
Right 6, don't cut. Into left 6, 60.
Alright, we're already 20 seconds
left
off.
3 long, don't cut. Into right 6, 60 over crest. Caution right
Luckily,
5,
it's a
into left 3 tight
fairly
over crest.
short stage, so
Right 6 crest.
hopefully we
130.
won't lose too much.
Right 6 into care, left 6 keep mid over jump. Into right 4 long.
I think we had a decent lead
Front
over
tyres
third.
gone.
Yeah, I thought I
Into
heard it go.
caution, left 6 long over crest jump. Right 5 and right 5 long into left 6 long over crest.
It's funny, we were out at the Global Rallycross in Daytona this weekend, and just on the TV screen they had some rally footage on there of WRC, and they were interviewing the WRC2 drivers.
So right 440 gate.
Every single one of them was like, well, we only had 2 punctures this stage, and well, I know I had a couple punctures, and
Into right 3
I think every
long,
single one of them
40.
mentioned punctures, so
Right 5
I guess
continue
it's
to 80
pretty
over
common
crest.
in the world of rally.
Into left 5 over crest, continue.
Certainly
to
doesn't
tight
seem to
to
be-
4. Keep right over jump, maybe.
Maybe
Left 6.
as
right
end of the
6.
world as in
Keep left
asphalt
over jump,
racing.
maybe. Right 5 long into caution, left 6 big jump. Right 4.
Yeah, I certainly see the appeal to this
Left
stage.
6 40 bump. Right 3 long past junction.
I
Into
really
left 6
messed it
crest
up.
Jump.
Losing this tire.
Right 5 long 60.
I think I've done a pretty good job of stopping the bleeding. Yeah, we're now only
Left 4 long keep
37
in.
down.
Into caution, keep right over jump. Left 6.
still in the
And
realm
right
of possibility
2
to
long.
overcome
Into
this.
Left 3 long. Into right 6 long. Into
Right.
right 3. Left 6.
Sorry, buddy. You're going to have to slow down your
Right
notes.
4 crest. Left 4 long, keep in 100.
Okay. Oof. Turn,
Left 4 long,
please.
into right 1 long.
I figured I'd have
60.
that much of a problem with the left-handers.
Turn hairpin right.
That's not going to be fun. Come on.
To left 2
Turn,
tight
please.
to 1. Over crest, 60 to finish.
Alright, to finish. So yeah, it wasn't too terribly long of a stage, luckily. So we'll get to put a new tire on there. Oh yeah, down on the rim. And try again at the next stage. Don't think I really got that much damage. Still P5 for that stage, and overall, we dropped to third, but yeah, it's still possible to get back to second.